I've been walking these streets for longer than most humans have been alive. Tonight, I think I'll visit Diana's place. She lives on the 7th floor of that glass building downtown, the one that looks like it's made of mirrors and money. Diana works at First National Bank, Corporate Law Division. Junior partner. 34 years old. Married for 8 years to a man-child who plays video games until 3 in the morning and can't remember to take out the trash. But that's not why I'm going. I'm going because 3 days ago, I saw her standing on her balcony at 2 in the morning, smoking a cigarette she doesn't usually smoke, staring at her phone like it held the answer to a question she was afraid to ask. I'm going because women like Diana, women who have everything mapped out, controlled, perfected, are the ones who shatter the loudest when things crack. And Diana is cracking. The building's security is laughable. I slipped through the lobby behind a drunk couple arguing about whose fault it was they missed their anniversary dinner. The elevator smells like expensive perfume and desperation. 7th floor. Her apartment is the corner unit. 2.3 million, she told someone once, though she still feels like she's faking it when she gives her address. The balcony door is open. Of course it is. Diana always leaves it open, even in winter. Says she needs air. What she needs is an escape route, but she hasn't figured that out yet. I jump onto the railing, then inside. And there she is. Diana sat on her kitchen floor at 1:47 a.m. with her laptop open, a half-empty bottle of wine beside her, and a spreadsheet that made no sense anymore. Column A, reasons to stay. Column B, reasons to leave. Column C, reasons why neither column mattered. She'd been working on this spreadsheet for 3 hours. Before that, she'd been at Marcus's apartment. Marcus, the senior partner at the firm. Marcus, who was 52, divorced twice, and had a way of looking at her during meetings that made her feel like the only person in the room. Marcus, who tonight, after 6 months of late-night, work sessions, and lingering touches, had finally kissed her. And she'd kissed him back. And then, 20 minutes later, when he tried to unbutton her blouse, she'd frozen. Completely frozen. Not because she didn't want to, God, she'd wanted to for months, but because the moment his hand touched her skin, all she could think about was her planner. Her color-coded, minute-by-minute planner that was sitting in her bag, and how having an affair wasn't penciled in for Thursday at 9:30 p.m. So she'd left. Made up some excuse about an early meeting. Drove home with her hands shaking on the wheel. And now she was sitting on her kitchen floor, drunk on Chardonnay and self-loathing, trying to quantify the unquantifiable. Her husband, Josh, was asleep in the bedroom. He'd been asleep since 10 p.m., right after finishing his 5th hour of Elden Ring. He hadn't asked where she'd been. Hadn't noticed she'd left at all. Diana took another sip of wine and stared at the spreadsheet. Under reasons to stay, she'd written, mortgage, health insurance, his mother likes me, too tired to start over. Under reasons to leave, she'd written, drowning, invisible, so lonely I could scream. Under column C she'd written nothing at all, because some truths don't fit in cells. That's when she noticed the cat. Gray, medium-sized, sitting on her counter like it owned the place. Watching her with eyes that looked almost golden in the dim kitchen light. Jesus Christ, Diana said, her voice sharp with wine and exhaustion. How did you get in here? The cat tilted its head. Didn't move. Diana stood up. Too fast, the room tilted, and steadied herself against the counter. Seriously. How? She looked at the balcony. The door was open. Of course. She'd opened it an hour ago when the apartment started to feel like a coffin. You need to leave, she said to the cat. I can't deal with this right now. I literally cannot deal with one more thing. The cat blinked. Slowly. The way someone blinks when they're not leaving and you both know it. Diana laughed, a hollow, brittle sound. Of course. Of course you're not leaving. Why would you? Nothing in my life goes according to plan anymore. Why should you? She sat back down on the floor. The cat jumped from the counter, landed soundlessly, and walked over. Sat just out of reach, tail curled around its paws. They looked at each other. I almost slept with someone tonight, Diana heard herself say. Not my husband. Obviously not my husband. Josh hasn't touched me in 4 months. Maybe 5. I stopped counting. She poured more wine into her glass. His name is Marcus. He's my boss. Very original, right? The corporate lawyer sleeping with the senior partner. It's like a bad Lifetime movie. The cat's ears twitched. You want to know the really pathetic part? Diana's voice dropped. It's not even about Marcus. I mean, he's attractive. Successful. Actually listens when I talk. But it's not about him. It's about. She gestured vaguely at the apartment, at herself, at everything. Feeling like I exist. Like someone sees me as something other than a wife who nags about dishes or a lawyer who bills 2,200 hours a year. She drank. The wine was warm now, almost unpleasant. Marcus sees me as a woman. As someone desirable. And tonight, when he kissed me, for exactly 14 seconds I felt alive. And then, she laughed again, sharper this time. Then my brain kicked in and I had a panic attack about how this wasn't scheduled and what would happen if anyone found out and how I don't even know what I'm doing because I've been with Josh since I was 23 and... She stopped. Put down the glass. I ran away. Like a teenager. Made up a lie and ran away. And now I'm sitting on my kitchen floor talking to a cat about my failing marriage and my failed affair that lasted exactly 14 seconds before I ruined it with my control issues. The cat stood. Walked closer. Sat down again, this time near enough that Diana could touch it if she wanted to. She didn't. Don't look at me like that, she said. Like you understand or something. You don't understand. Nobody does. But the cat kept looking, and something about that gaze, steady, unhurried, completely without judgment, made Diana's throat tighten. I'm so tired, she whispered. I'm so tired of trying to hold everything together. The cat moved then. Not away, but forward. Pressed its head against Diana's knee. Just once. Then settled beside her, close enough that she could feel its warmth. Diana's hand moved before she could stop it. Started stroking the cat's head. The fur was soft. Softer than she expected. You want the whole sad story? She asked. Fine. Might as well. I'm already having a breakdown on my kitchen floor at 2 in the morning. May as well commit to it. She leaned back against the cabinet. I met Josh in law school. First year. He was getting his master's in computer science. I was drowning in torts and contracts. He was sweet. Funny. We'd study together in the library. He'd bring me coffee, make me laugh when I was stressed. He felt safe. Like the opposite of my childhood, which was chaos wrapped in more chaos. The cat purred. Low, steady. Like a heartbeat. My parents had the kind of marriage where they loved each other intensely and hated each other intensely, and nothing in between. My dad would buy my mom jewelry 1 week and sleep on a friend's couch the next. High drama. Constant. I swore I'd never do that. Swore I'd find someone stable. Predictable. She paused. Poured the last of the wine. Well, I got what I wanted. Josh is the most stable, predictable man on earth. Works from home as a software engineer. Makes good money. Doesn't yell. Doesn't cheat. Doesn't do much of anything, actually. He works, he games, he sleeps. That's it. That's his entire existence. Diana's voice got harder. And before you say it, yes, I've tried. I've tried talking to him. Tried therapy. Tried planning date nights, surprising him with lingerie, suggesting we take up hobbies together. You know what he said last time I brought up therapy? He said, I don't see the problem. We get along fine. Why do we need to pay someone to tell us we're fine? She drank. The wine was gone. She put down the empty glass. We don't fight. That's what he means by fine. We don't fight because you can't fight with someone who's never fully present. It's like arguing with a ghost. He agrees to everything and changes nothing. He says, yeah, you're right, and then boots up his computer. I could tell him the house is on fire, and he'd say that sucks, babe, without looking up from his screen. The cat shifted, rolled onto its side. Its paw rested on Diana's leg. I thought marriage would be, I don't know, partnership. Two people building something together. But this? She looked around the apartment. Expensive furniture. Curated art. Everything in its place. This is me building something alone while my husband plays pretend in digital worlds because the real one requires too much effort. Her voice cracked. I build 2,200 hours a year at the firm. I pay the mortgage. I schedule the repairs. I remember his mother's birthday. I plan our vacations, which he complains about, by the way, because he'd rather stay home. I do everything. And you know what's insane? I'm good at it. I'm so fucking good at controlling every aspect of our life that I've controlled myself right into this perfect, sterile, miserable marriage. She was crying now. Hadn't noticed when it started. And the worst part? The absolute worst part is that I know I'm part of the problem. I know I am. I'm a control freak. I schedule sex, actually pencil it into my calendar. I make lists for everything. I can't relax. Can't let things be messy or spontaneous or imperfect. And Josh just gave up. Stopped trying. Let me take over everything because it was easier than dealing with my anxiety about things not going according to plan. The cat sat up. Looked at her directly. What? Diana wiped her eyes. You think I'm being too hard on myself? Or not hard enough? The cat didn't answer, obviously, but kept staring, and Diana found herself talking faster now, words spilling out like she'd been holding them in for years. It's not just Josh. It's everyone. Every man I've ever been with sees me the same way. Not as a partner. Not as an equal. As a fantasy. The hot lawyer. The smart girl who's good in bed. The affair. I'm always the affair. Even when I'm the wife. She pulled her knees to her chest. Before Josh, there was David. We dated for 2 years. He said he loved me. Right up until his ex-girlfriend called and said she was pregnant. Then he said he needed to do the right thing and married her 3 months later. I found out from Facebook. The cat moved closer. Put its head on Diana's knee again. Then there was Michael. Met him at a conference. Charming, successful, said all the right things. Took me to nice restaurants, expensive hotels. I thought it was going somewhere. Turns out he had a girlfriend in Boston. Had for 3 years. I was just a work trip entertainment. Diana's voice went flat. And now Marcus. Marcus, who I actually thought was different. Who seemed to see me. Really see me. We talk about cases, about philosophy, about our lives. He told me about his divorces. Said he'd never met anyone like me. That I was brilliant. That he thought about me constantly. She laughed bitterly. And tonight, when he kissed me, you know what I felt? For exactly 2 seconds I felt wanted. desired. Like I was the center of someone's universe. And then his hand moved to my blouse and I realized, he doesn't want me. Not really. He wants the idea of me. The young, attractive associate. The conquest. Another in a long line of women who fell for the Silver Fox senior partner routine. The cat purred louder. Diana kept petting it, mechanical now, almost desperate. But here's the really fucked up part. I was going to do it anyway. I was going to sleep with him even though I knew, it wouldn't change anything. Because at least for an hour I'd feel something other than invisible. At least someone would touch me like they meant it. She stopped. Breathed. But then my brain wouldn't shut off. I started thinking about the timeline. If we slept together tonight, I'd need to leave by 11 to get home before Josh woke up. But what if he woke up early? I'd need a cover story. And what about the sheets? Would Marcus's sheets smell different? What if Josh noticed? And what about work tomorrow? I have a meeting at 9. Would it be weird? Would people notice? What about my hair? She pressed her palms to her eyes. I thought myself out of the only thing I've wanted to do in years. Because I can't turn off the control. Can't just let something happen. Have to plan it, map it, make sure every variable is accounted for. And now Marcus probably thinks I'm insane. Josh still doesn't know I exist. And I'm alone. Again. The apartment was very quiet. Even the traffic outside seemed muted. Diana looked at the cat. There's this programmer at work. David. He's 26. Has cerebral palsy. Uses a cane. Works in our IT department. She swallowed. He's been, I don't know, persistent. Asking me to lunch. Leaving notes on my desk. Nothing aggressive, just persistent. And I don't know how to handle it. The cat's tail flicked once. Everyone says just tell him no. But I have told him no. 3 times. And he keeps not getting it. Or pretending not to get it. He'll come by my office with questions about the legal software. He'll accidentally end up in the break room when I'm there. Last week he sent me an email, to my work email, with a poem. A fucking poem. Diana's voice got tighter. And here's the terrible part, I feel guilty. He's disabled. He's sweet, in a puppy dog kind of way. Everyone at the firm treats him like he's fragile. And I know, that if I report him to HR, I'll be the villain. The Ice Queen lawyer who couldn't handle a harmless crush from the disabled Ike guy. They'll say I'm overreacting. That he's harmless. That I should be flattered. She stood up suddenly, started pacing. But it doesn't feel harmless. It feels suffocating. Like one more thing I have to manage. One more person who wants something from me. And I can't even be honest about how uncomfortable it makes me because then I'm ableist or cruel or... She stopped mid-sentence. The cat had jumped onto the counter. Was sitting there, watching her pace. You think I'm making excuses, Diana said. You think I should just tell him to fuck off. The cat blinked slowly. I can't. Don't you get it? I can't be the bad guy. I have to be perfect. Perfect wife. Perfect lawyer. Perfect woman who handles everything with grace and composure. If I lose control, if I admit I can't handle something, if I'm mean to the disabled guy, if I have the affair, if I leave my husband, then everything falls apart. The whole carefully constructed life I've built collapses. Her voice rose. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe it should all collapse. Because I'm fucking drowning here and nobody notices because I'm so good at pretending I'm fine. She was shouting now. In her own kitchen. At a cat. At 2 in the morning. And then, suddenly, she wasn't shouting. She was crying. Really crying. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep and old and hasn't been let out in years. She slid down the cabinet, back to the floor. The cat jumped down, walked over, climbed into her lap. Heavy. Warm. Real. Diana wrapped her arms around it and sobbed. I don't know who I am anymore, she whispered into its fur. I'm not the girl who was going to change the world. I'm not the wife who saved her marriage. I'm not the career woman who made partner. I'm not even the other woman. I couldn't even do that right. I'm just tired. So tired of performing. Of controlling. Of pretending. The cat purred against her chest. Steady. Undemanding. My mother always said I had impossible standards. Said I expected too much from people. From life. That I needed to learn to accept things as they are. But how do you accept a marriage that's died? A career that's going nowhere because you're too afraid to take risks? A life that looks perfect on paper but feels empty? She stroked the cat's back. Slower now. Calmer. I went to Josh's computer last week. While he was in the shower. I know his password. It's been the same for 8 years. I opened his browser history. She paused. Porn. Reddit. Gaming forums. Nothing suspicious. No affair, no secret life. Just nothing. Hours and hours of nothing. He's not cheating. He's not unhappy. He's not anything. He's just absent. Living his small, comfortable life while I slowly disappear. The cat shifted in her lap, looked up at her. And Marcus. I looked him up too. Not his browser history, I'm not that crazy. But I googled him. Found his ex-wives on Facebook. They look like me. All of them. Same age range, same professional background. One's a lawyer, one's a doctor. Both brunette. Both successful. There's a type. I'm a type. Diana's voice went flat. I'm 34 years old, and I've never been anyone's first choice. I've been the convenient girlfriend. The rebound. The affair. The wife who's easy to ignore. But never the one someone fights for. Never the one someone sees as irreplaceable. The cat meowed. Soft. Almost questioning. You want to know what scares me most? Diana whispered. That I'll wake up at 50 and still be living like this. Still controlling everything, trusting no one, letting no one in because the moment I do they prove I was right not to trust them. Still pretending I'm fine while I'm dying inside. She closed her eyes. I looked at that spreadsheet tonight, columns A, B, and C, and you know what I realized? The only thing stopping me from leaving Josh isn't the mortgage or the health insurance, or his mother. It's me. I'm stopping me. Because if I leave him, I have to admit I failed. That my perfect, controlled marriage was a lie. That I wasted 8 years on someone who never really saw me. The cat stood up in her lap, stretched, then settled back down in a different position. Closer to her face. And if I sleep with Marcus, if I actually go through with it, then I have to admit I'm not the good girl. That I'm capable of being messy and imperfect and selfish. That I want things. That I'm angry. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. I'm so angry. At Josh for checking out. At Marcus for being another man who sees me as temporary. At David for not understanding boundaries. At my parents for showing me that love is either chaos or nothing. At myself for being too afraid to choose either one. She was quiet for a long time. The cat purred. Outside, somewhere, a siren wailed and faded. I don't know what to do, Diana finally said. I don't know how to stop controlling everything. How to trust someone. How to be vulnerable without falling apart. How to want things without feeling guilty. How to be angry without being destructive. How to be imperfect without feeling like I'm failing. The cat lifted its head, looked at her with those yellow gold eyes. And Diana, exhausted and wine-drunk and more honest than she'd been in years, asked, "How do you live when you're afraid of everything? When you're afraid of staying and afraid of leaving and afraid of the mess in between?" The cat stood, stretched, jumped from her lap and walked to the balcony door. "That's it," Diana called after it. "That's all you're going to do? Sit here while I have a breakdown and then leave?" The cat paused, turned back. And in that moment, Diana could have sworn she saw something in its expression. Not pity. Not judgment. Something else. Recognition, maybe? Like the cat was saying, "I see you. The real you. Not the perfect lawyer or the perfect wife or the woman who controls everything. Just you. Messy, angry, scared, human you." "I don't know how to be that person," Diana whispered. "The real one." The cat blinked once. Slowly. Then jumped onto the balcony railing. Diana stood. Walked to the door. The night air was cold. "Wait," she said. But the cat was already gone. Disappeared into the dark like it had never been there at all. Diana will stay in that marriage for another year, maybe 2. She'll end the almost affair with Marcus, probably tomorrow, in a very professional email that gives him no reason to hope and no room to argue. She'll set better boundaries with David, finally involve HR when he doesn't listen. She'll keep controlling everything, keep trying to perfect the imperfectible, keep building her prison of plans and schedules and carefully managed expectations. But something shifted tonight. Some small crack in the armor. Eventually, maybe not soon, but eventually, she'll leave Josh. Not for another man. For herself. She'll find a smaller apartment, sell some of the furniture, break her mother's heart, and liberate her own. She'll be messy about it. Make mistakes. Choose wrong sometimes. And slowly, painfully, she'll learn that being loved isn't about being perfect. It's about being seen. But that's her journey. Not mine. I jump from rooftop to rooftop, heading east. Dawn is 2 hours away. There's a woman in Chinatown I've been meaning to visit. She's a widow, 73, hasn't spoken to her daughter in 15 years. She sits at her window every night, waiting for an apology that will never come. Some people need to be reminded they're not alone. Others need to be reminded that being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Diana needs both. But tonight she needed to say it all out loud. To feel seen in her brokenness, her anger, her fear. To know that somewhere, even if just a gray cat on a Thursday night, someone witnessed the real her. That's enough. For now. Diana stood on the balcony for a long time after the cat left. The city stretched out below, lights and movement and millions of people living their own complicated lives. She thought about calling Marcus. Thought about waking Josh. Thought about 1,000 things she should do, needed to do, had to do.